good afternoon. I am so excited because I'm here with Jesse Moreno from Bliss Realty Investments plus the Closing Room podcast. He's really good. Actually, he is
Thank you.
Awesome podcaster. I've heard you're like the podcaster king here
Not true.
at Drake's
Not true. Not
at
true.
Drake's title. But thank everybody for being here. My name is Mercy with Mercy's My Realtor, and you are on the podcast of Cafecito with Mercy. You know that I love coffee, and we're just gonna talk shop. We're just gonna talk about real estate and story time. It's gonna be a little short one this time, but I thank you, Jesse, for taking the time. I know you just finished your podcast, and you're like so nice to,
of course,
just kind of fill in, and I appreciate you so much. And tell me a little bit about you and
Sure.
when you became a realtor and
Wow.
you fell in love with the industry. So,
I did. I've been in it for a while. I started back in. Well, first of all, let me start with my podcast because you mentioned that up a second ago, and
he's awesome.
You're right. I just finished my podcast show. It's called the Closing Room AZ.
I love
So,
that.
yeah,
What a
thank you.
brilliant name.
Thanks. It's all real
Congrats.
estate. We talk all about real estate, and I bring in
Nice.
different guest speakers. Everybody from your lenders and
Right.
also the realtors. I bring in home inspectors and people
Right.
that are just somehow involved with real estate in some way or form.
Mm-hmm.
And they just talk about a lot of things. In fact, I had one just the other day. I had Tim O'Neill on my show, and he's actually one of the local home inspectors in the area.
Nice.
What I liked about him, and it's very exciting for me to share, is, and I'll make a long story short to this, is that he's not just a home inspector, but he's been doing it for such a long time, but he teaches it. So he teaches it, and you get CE credits through Arizona Department of Real Estate.
I love
so
that.
it's one of those guys that just knows
Yeah.
has a lot of knowledge and wisdom. And I mean, he's done what struck me is that he's done over 16,000 home inspections on his own. Think about that number, 16,000.
That's amazing.
It's crazy, right? So, but I do have a show, and right before we started talking a little bit ago, I had just finished my 2 podcasts. I had 2 different guests, and it's
Love
time.
it.
Time goes by really quick when you're
I
talking
know.
and
Yeah.
sharing information, and especially when it's stuff that you don't know about or new things.
Yep.
You just want to absorb and grab more of that information, right? So it's cool.
It's great. I
Yeah.
know. I am so blessed, really, and very thankful that Drake's Title has this opportunity for us to come in here and do our podcast.
Right.
And when I found out about it, I was like, sign me in, because I'm so excited about being able to talk. And like you say, you bring in different vendors. You talk shop, but you also talk about other industries that we work with them, but we don't really know what they do, like home inspectors, loan officers, title companies, appraisers, etc.
Sure.
So it's also been, that's what I do. I do podcasts like once a month. I'm not as like really good like you, but
No.
I'm going to try, but I think we all have our little niche.
Sure.
And I really love communicating with people and letting them know who I am. Like I want that trust,
Sure.
that I am a person. I'm not an AI, and I'm going to say silly things, and I'm going to get all twisted. And
Yeah, that's
but
okay.
it's real,
That's-
right?
Absolutely. It's keeping it
Yeah.
organic. I'll tell you what, if you get a chance to see my podcast, some of my shows, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And I've been only doing it for a little bit of time. I mean, probably under a couple of months, right? I started back
Yeah.
in February, so I'm fairly new to it. I've never done it before. That was my first time back in February, and I'm starting to get the groove. But it's never like you know it all or you got it under control. It's still a little
No,
nerve-wracking
of
every time I do
course.
it. And you tend to have a couple of mess ups, whatever. But I don't edit it out. I leave it.
Me too.
So it's okay if people look at it and laugh and say something about it. I'm like, give me some feedback. If you saw something that was funny, or if you want
Right.
to give me some constructive criticism, whatever, I don't care. Put it out there.
Yeah.
I love to hear what people have to say. Actually, if you're looking, in the podcast, you
Yeah.
can see my QR code, right?
Yeah.
So it's there. Just go
Yeah.
ahead and click on it, and you'll get all my contact information. But most importantly, it's going to take you to my YouTube channel, The Closing Room AZ. And
I'm telling you guys,
So-
he's on it. But I'm going to have to follow him and copy whatever he does.
all right,
So as
appreciate it.
realtors, we really try to help each other. At least I want to say, I want to
Yes,
feel that we do help each
absolutely.
other in because you don't know everything, and so when you're in this industry, you learn every day. Um, you learn from other colleagues and realtors, and they learn from you. We all have our niche. But my father used to say, "Que en paz descanse." You know how we always have to say that when they're no longer with us here on earth. My father used to say that the sun shines for everyone. So to me, that is so important because the sun does shine for everyone. Because what my clients are not yours and yours are not mine, but we're here to help each other.
Sure.
And that's how I've always been in business,
Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you, what made you get into the real estate business and why you think it's great,
Sure.
good and bad? Give it
Right.
to us all.
Well, great question. Thank you for asking that. I've been doing this for a while. So I've been doing real estate and mortgages, and I was a broker in California for a while. I started
Really?
this. Yeah, I had my
Okay.
own agency and my brokerage out there.
Time out, because I am a California real estate agent as well.
Okay.
So I'm sure you have tons of connections in California, but
Sure.
I became a realtor in California August of last year. But I'm going to be very heavily invested come this summer because I'm going to be spending a lot more time there. So
Okay.
now you know.
Well, good for
I'm
you.
a California realtor as
All
well.
right. Which part of California?
Orange County.
Orange County. All right.
Mission Viejo, Rancho Santa Margarita,
Sure, of
Lake
course.
Forest area.
Yeah.
My family all lives there. So
All right. Yeah. In an empire. So
okay,
Upland, Montclair. So in fact, I had my agency in the city of Montclair.
nice.
So that's where I had my brokerage for a while before we came out to Arizona. And we came out here to open up another location. And,
Okay.
And of course, also just to make a move and say, well, let's come out here and see how we can make it grow out here.
Yeah.
And that was right before the market crashed. But let me retract a little bit.
Sorry, I'm
based on-
sorry.
oh, no. I mean, I know you once you get me started, I'm going to keep going.
You go for it.
But I've been doing this for a while. I would say probably since the mid-'90s is when I got into it. I started off with just a realtor license in California, and then I got my broker license. In fact, my mother-in-law is the one that kind of talked me into it, says, go get your broker license.
Awesome.
Open up your own store. And
It's awesome.
she's the one that kind of also directed me into the real estate business back then. So when I was dating my wife, who was the girlfriend at the time, her mom was in the real estate business and very successful at it. She had her own agency as well. She wasn't a broker, but she contracted through a broker, so she had her agents, and she was doing very well. When I say very well, she was one of those agents that just
right, like top one.
I don't know how
Top
she did it, but
1%.
she was consistent. Just
Nice.
and and being a young man at the time, observing and watching, I want to get into a little of
Yeah.
that. And she's always said, look, maybe you're a talker, you're always very sociable. You should try it. Get out of working at the warehouse, and I used to
Right.
work at Albertsons.
Oh
When I
yeah.
was a young guy there in Brea.
Uh-huh.
And she said, yeah, try something different. And so I did. I got into the finance side. I used to work for a company called Transamerica Financial.
I remember Transamerica.
Remember them back,
yeah,
right?
of
They're
course.
still around.
Yeah.
But back in the days, they were really into, note loans and second mortgages and stuff like that. And now they're primarily more of the financial side of it, life insurance and investment
Right.
stuff like that. But that kind of drove me to get into the real estate side of it, the sales piece of it. And probably in the mid-'90s, about 94, as I got my license and said it's time to get into
Wow.
some straight 1099 business and start doing sales. And I'll tell you, I got a lot
Wow.
of stories. We could talk about those and what I come across when I'm selling a house or
Yeah.
listing a property. But I just love working with
Yeah.
people, and I like educating folks and letting them know about the real estate business,
Yeah.
especially when it comes down to their transaction. The process. There's just so many
Yes.
things.
There's so many things.
So
yeah.
I'm excited. I love it. I've been doing it for a while, and
You're
now
a seasoned agent.
you're always learning something new. Let's be real, right?
Yeah.
Be honest with you. You're always learning something
That is
different all the
so
time.
true.
You don't know it all. I think people say, well, you've been in it for such a long time, you know everything.
No.
I don't think so. I don't know it all. I learned
Things change.
Yeah, they do. I learn things from people that are new to the business.
Mm-hmm.
The last interview that I just did in my podcast, it was Ben Salcido from Barrett Financial. So I'm gonna give him a
Oh,
little
yeah.
quick plug-in.
Yeah.
And he's been in the business probably about, I think he told me maybe around 6 years, 7 years, something like that.
Okay.
And as he's talking, I'm learning some things from him and what he's sharing, some different ideas and concepts. And I'm like, okay. So that just tells me
Right.
I may have done it for a long time, but the new generation also knows a lot and
That's
they're learning
right.
it. So You just got to have those ears to listen.
And I think that's the key also with this industry is like really being open to changes and being open to listening.
Absolutely.
And more importantly, Jesse, like to me, education is so, so important.
Of course.
Like taking your classes, which we have to do mandatory anyways every 2
Right.
years, but really taking those extra classes, listening. Like I drive a lot to California. And in my 6-hour drive, I'll just start putting on podcasts of real estate one after the other. And even though I can't really write down notes because I'm driving, but it's like in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that.
Right.
So it's the educational part that really motivates me like, okay, yeah, I can do that. And I'll share something I just learned today from a mega realtor from Atlanta. But I feel the same way. We're constantly, you're seasoned. I'm not so seasoned. But more of the newer
Sure.
agent. But you're learning and you're really wanting to be educated to give the best trusted advice to your clients.
Absolutely.
Right? And so that's what it takes is when someone asks me a question, I just don't randomly like, if I know, I know. And there's facts, that. But when I'm like not sure, I will say, you know what? Hold on a second. Let me get back to you because I don't want to tell you something that is not correct. And I don't want to give you advice as an attorney or an accountant.
Right.
So I always say, this is what I think. However, and I'm sure
Absolutely.
you've had lots of
Absolutely.
those. This is what I think. However, I really suggest you highly speak to somebody that's a professional and that's
Right.
an attorney for real estate
Mhm.
or an accountant that deals with real estate. So don't take my word for it. I'm just a messenger, but
Right.
check it.
That is a good point, Mercy. It definitely is. I always tell my clients the same thing. Look, I'll explain the disclosures and the contracts and everything, but I'm not a real estate attorney. If you need more clarity and a better understanding, reach out to one.
Exactly.
I could only give you based on what my understanding, and I feel pretty comfortable, but it's not my final say so, right? It's like not my final word. I didn't write the contract, so
That's right.
really, get if you need to get a second opinion, do so.
Absolutely.
So that's you're on the money on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really a service to our clients.
Absolutely.
That's why you are so successful and you're really doing great on your podcast and you're just
Thanks.
wheeling and dealing and doing your thing and have investors and you're really all I met you like 3 or 4 months ago when I first came to Driggs. We did like there was a workshop that we did and
Yes.
and I remember connecting with you and saying one day we're going to do a podcast together because I heard
You did.
I heard you're the man. So but going back to that realtor in Atlanta, I'm going to give her a shout out because I follow her. Her name is Glenda Baker, and she's like a top 1%. I mean, she's been in the industry. She says, I've been in the industry since Jesus was born. Like, she's really funny. She has that, Southern character, which I love because she'll talk real, and anyways, what she said is, and this is another learning thing, social media is changing so much that it's not just about like our customers and our audiences. They like the AI and they appreciate the AI. However, when it comes down to like buying or selling or investing from AI or like someone, I'm not going to say fake because I also use AI, so I'm not going to say that. But when it really comes to pulling the trigger of making an investment, buying or selling, like you want to have a connection with that person. You really want to know who they are, what you've seen from them, what are they closing, what are they doing, how are they helping others. And what she's saying is we need to really, as realtors, Jesse, is really start doing live. She says that live is the new golden nugget. And I'm like, live? You mean like, how about if I look, my hair's not done, or I don't have the right shirt, or I woke up with bags under my eyes because I didn't sleep well, which happens a lot at my age. And they're like, listen, the most organic and the best way you can be is you, whatever that takes. You don't have to worry about the makeup and all that. You just be you. But she said, right now, going live, whether it be on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you have your core sphere, is go live. Don't do more than 10 minutes, which, you do. You're really good about your timing. Don't do more than 10 minutes, and then just start answering questions. And there's a process to it, but going live is the new way.
Right.
So all of those out there that see me, I'm going to be going live a lot because I feel like going live is the next best thing. So,
Right.
and it's my little golden nugget to you.
Appreciate it. And I like that. We're doing this podcast now, and when we talked a little bit ago, because you told me today,
Yeah.
so that everyone knows, she caught me on the spot as I'm finishing, like, hey, do you want to do a podcast now? And I'm like, yeah, yes, let's do one.
If people know me and my audience, they know that I'm very spontaneous. Like,
yes, you
whatever
are.
I can do
you are.
today, I'm not waiting for tomorrow because tomorrow's not guaranteed to anybody.
No,
So
perfect.
it's on.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. And my thought was, why not help a fellow colleague
I
of mine,
appreciate
right?
that.
We don't work for the same agency, but I
Yeah.
was like, let's do this. And that's, you mentioned earlier about helping others out,
Yeah.
helping, and it's true from that perspective. We should always be helping. What goes around comes around, that saying, and I think
100%.
it's important that you help people out. But you did, you on the spot, you were like, hey, do you want to do this podcast with me? And I was like, yeah. So this is very organic. It's not scripted. It's just having a good conversation. And, obviously you're going to throw some questions at me, and I'm going to try to do my best to answer them. Because when I do my podcast, I'm bringing in guests, but I'm a structured person. I like some direction. I like to make sure we're on track. So I'm always throwing questions out. And when people watch my podcast, they're going to know there's an outline to it.
Right.
They know that I'm following something there because I'm asking the questions that I want the listeners to learn, to be educated.
That's right.
We're not selling anything. In my podcast, to be honest with you, I don't, I brought in photographers, people talk about their business in photography and or drone business, or anything their products, the mortgage, stuff like that. But they're not selling that product. They're educating them what that means, right? Like today, if you guys haven't had a chance, take a look at my podcast, but we did one today called Mortgage 101. Now, I've done one before with a different lender, but it's great to always get a different perspective from a different lender, right? Because you learn something all the time from someone different. And though I know mortgages, it's great to listen to how they view it.
Yeah.
Especially the younger generation.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, I didn't think of it that way.
And
right?
and it's changing constantly,
It
right?
always is.
Yeah.
As it is in real estate,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's key. But you're right, going to the person that you listen to, Linda?
Glenda.
Glenda. All right.
Glenda.
To her, her suggestion was to go live. I get it. I think it's great. Look, I feel good doing this right now. I'm thinking, wow, it's not scripted.
Yeah.
I did one with Ignacio Ochoa here from Drake's Title the other day.
Yeah, he's wonderful. Yeah.
And he asked me a lot of questions, and he was being, he followed up the list.
Script, yeah.
The script, right? So he, which was fine. So he kind of built it out. But to kind of be not all over the place, but to kind of pick on certain things, I think it's good because it gives the listener a chance to get a different perspective, from the feedback. So
yeah, I agree. I think that, again, this is about education. This is about helping each other. And I mean, we're colleagues. And yes, this was like very spontaneous, but I've been wanting to do this podcast with you. So it worked out perfect. It really
appreciate
has.
it. Thank you.
So how have you felt with your clients? Because I know what I'm feeling about the market change, and everybody's waiting for those interest rates to go down. Everybody's once the market gets better, when there's changes in the world, et cetera, et cetera. I have my own view, but I wanted to ask you.
Sure. If you're waiting for the rates to get better, good luck, because you're just going to be waiting. And what happens by waiting is you're missing the opportunity to buy at the price that it's at now, because the longer you wait, the higher the prices are going to go up in value.
Correct.
It's just happening. It happens everywhere here in the Valley. Last year the properties worth $500,000 are now worth almost $600,000.
Yes.
And you're waiting for the rate.
Yes.
I was telling in a conversation, and actually in a few of my podcasts, I've always make a comment to this: when people are waiting for rates to drop, don't wait for the rates to drop, because based on the economy, we're waiting for our Fed Reserve guy to get out, right? Jerome Powell, and and then we're also watching what the market's doing, the stock market, the bond market,
Right.
the treasury bill. There's so many things that affect it, right? And then, of course, then we have at a personal level, the interest rates, what's going on with the mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the deal. In this business, as a first-time buyer, we don't, here's my advice. Don't marry the home,
Right.
date the rate, right?
Right.
You've heard that saying,
For sure.
right? So
Yeah.
that's my advice to people. Don't wait because, look, house values are going to keep going up in value. You're going to miss
Yes.
opportunity where it's going to grow wealth or equity in your property, and you're going to miss that opportunity. Interest rates, you could always refinance it.
Exactly.
You could always, and if you can't refinance it and you're locked in, for example, on something where you can't get out, then maybe perhaps as the values go up in your home, you could sell it,
That's
take
right.
the equity and reinvest it somewhere else and move on.
It's
right?
right.
But don't wait for the rates because in this market, the way it is right now, and I mean, with our current market situation
Yeah.
going on with the war in Iran and everything that's
Mhm.
happening, you know what? If you're going to wait to see what happens, you're going to lose out on
That's right.
opportunities.
That's right.
Right.
And then especially here in Arizona, the market of Arizona it's growing.
Absolutely.
It's growing so much. I came to Arizona 4 years ago from California, and I've seen the change. And it's like some people ask me, like, but I thought you guys were running out of water. I'm like, we are not running out of water anytime soon because there's like thousands and thousands of homes being built in the East Valley, which I know is also in the West Valley,
Mhm.
and so much structure in Scottsdale and Phoenix, etc. So we're not running out of water yet.
Right.
And hopefully never. But anyways, I agree with you as far as like the waiting and know when the interest rates go down, when the market changes, when this happens, that happens. Guys, if you can qualify and you can buy now.
Absolutely.
And if you need to sell, you sell. And that's why we as realtors, we're the negotiating power for you. Like we will help you make the right decision in the
Right.
sense of like giving you the best advice. However, at the end of the day, they're the ones that make those decisions.
Sure.
But we will say, look, this is what the market is showing. In your mind, maybe 3 years ago, it was this price, but this is real. This is what
Right.
it's actually showing when you're going to sell. Because I'm sure, and I'll give you the mic on that, is what happens when you go to a listing and they're like, well, no, my house is not worth that. My house is worth much more. What
Right.
do you do?
Well, you know, it's funny. People have a lot of, you know, they're emotionally invested in their homes, and they're going to tell you their home is worth whatever they feel it's
Right.
worth, and rightfully so. They're entitled to that, and I get it. But when they tell me that, and they're like, Jess, you know what, this home, I want to list it for this much because this is how much it's worth. I got to give them the facts. I got to give them the proof. I got
That's
to
right.
show it to them. There's got to be something they could see that that it's going to say, hey, this is what the home is worth. It's not what Jesse thinks. It's not my opinion.
Correct.
It's what I could provide them that has some tangible facts and proofs of what it's worth. So in our business, we give them some type of market analysis report, right? Some
Correct.
comparable sales. We don't give them what's actively listed or what's pending because that doesn't really mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Things could change. They could sell it for less, but we want to see what's actually closed.
That's right.
And what's closed is what is really what it's worth,
The real.
the real number.
Yes.
Right? You know, I always say work with the lender that can provide you that information as well, a little bit more in detail. You can
Right.
get that report through the multiple listing service.
Okay, so you just
Right.
said something right now. See, I've never done that. That's brilliant. So you're saying when you go to a listing appointment and you bring your market analysis and data, you also say speak with a lender?
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. So if it's a listing,
Right?
I'm not saying speak with the lender. If it's a buyer, let's get with the
Okay,
lender. But if it's a
sure.
listing, I'm showing them what my lender is giving me so they know
Okay.
when the buyer comes in, we have an idea what that property is worth.
Love
right?
it.
Because
Love
a lot of lenders have, the same reporting that we could pull, from example, that we could pull in the multiple listing service, right? So we go
Sure.
into
MLS.
MLS, go to Monsoon
Yep.
or Curview, and we could grab this information. And not to confuse the listener
Yeah.
that doesn't know about real estate.
That's shop talk, guys.
That's shop
Those-
talk, yes. Inside the multiple listing service that agents
Yes.
utilize, we have different tools that we could grab that information and figure out what the home is actually worth.
Correct.
But I don't want to give them what my opinion is
Mhm.
because, we have a disclosure that says it's a market advisory form that we use that says,
Yeah.
look, I could tell you this is what it's worth, but the market could change. It could be worth more down the road,
Right.
or it could be worth less, or things could change while it's in contract, right?
That's
while
right.
we
Oh,
list
yeah,
it, right?
absolutely.
So I'd rather give them something they could get a visual on,
Tangible, yeah.
tangible, yeah, absolutely. And so it's who you work with. I work with a good buddy of mine. He provides me this document. It's called, I want to say it's called House Canary.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Canary House. I think it's House Canary. For those that know it, you know what I'm talking about. Those don't. Let me tell you, it's a
Okay.
report that gives you the facts of what that property sold for. It's kind of like a comparable
Yes.
market analysis,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a little bit more detailed because it breaks it down to you per square footage cost. If you want to figure that
that's
out,
amazing.
it gives you what the properties are selling for, the lease prices if the people are looking to rent. It's really granular, but detailed inside of it. And that particular document is what I like to provide them. I'm going to give you a story here. You guys are going to love this one.
Story time, guys.
Story time. I had a property.
Love it.
I had a property in Glendale, and my client said, "Hey Jesse, this home is worth $600,000." He was adamant, $600,000. I looked at the comparable closings. It wasn't worth. It was worth $530 in my opinion, based on my own personal research.
Sure.
But he was like, "No, $600,000." And usually when people want to list it way above where I just know it doesn't work, I walk away from those listings.
Wow.
But this particular client was a referral from a friend. And you know how that is. When it's a referral from somebody, a family member,
Yeah.
friend, you're like,
There's an extra commitment there.
yeah. You're like, okay, I don't want to disappoint. I'm going to just take
Sure.
it on. So I told him, I said, we're going to list it at $600,000. But promise me, if it doesn't move in a couple of weeks, let's go with
Right.
what I'm telling you. So he says, well, let's try it out. And again, he was very adamant, $600,000. So we put it for $600,000. Beautiful home. We did have some people come through, but once they saw the price,
Yeah.
they were like, no, I don't think so. It's not worth $600,000. So I was like, okay. So 2 weeks go by. I think by the third week, I gave him, well, he wanted me to drop a little bit less, from 600 to 550, and I'm like, no, 530 is where
It
it's
has
going
to
to
be
be.
radical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, no, Jesse, let's just put it here. And I'm like, let's not keep reducing the price.
Yeah.
Let's just set where it needs to be, and let's just be aggressive with it if you really want to move this property.
Mm-hmm.
So show me why it's worth 530. I'm like, I've told you, but let me show you. And maybe I should have showed him when we talked about it, but at the time he was really adamant and he didn't want to see nothing from me and so forth. And so now I'm showing him the market comparable report that shows the actual closings and so forth. And he was,
Yeah.
he struggled with it, to be honest with you. And he was like, wow, okay. Well, we put on the market at 530.
Mm-hmm.
A week later, maybe a week and a half later, sold at 530.
Of course.
Not a penny more, not a penny less.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the buyers came in and they wanted some concessions.
Seller's concessions.
And they wanted
sure.
certain stuff like
Typical.
that.
Yeah.
And when those things happen, then we could go back to the table and say, well, not 530, how about
Right.
540 to cover?
Right.
So if you have a smart agent, if you have
Yes.
someone that's knowledgeable, they're going to work those numbers, not just give in.
Right.
And, so we want to take care of our client.
That's right.
If I got the listing, the seller. If I got
Yeah.
the buyer, then I'm going to, we're going to
That's
do everything we
right.
can. But, we sold it at 530.
And that's why, and that's how it should have been from the beginning. But
Right.
again, you educated your client.
Absolutely.
He finally understood, got to the point where he knew that he needed to trust you at that point, and it sold.
Right. And and I had that conversation, tell him, like, don't get emotionally tied. In real estate, unfortunately, everyone gets emotionally tied to their home.
Right.
It's just the nature.
Sure.
And so do I. Let's be honest. Me as a realtor, in my home, I'm like, I know it's worth this much.
I know.
But I want this much more.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
But, if I'm going to be real about it, then I really know what it's worth. I have to go with that if I really want to sell the property.
yeah.
But you got to educate them. And anything that we do, we always educate the client regardless, because if you educate them, they're going to know exactly what they're in,
That's
for. Right.
That's right. Yeah, and I think that when you are a serious homeowner, then you do want to sell. It happens a lot where, again, you want that certain price, but it just doesn't sell, and then there's disappointment.
Right.
I also, and I've shared with my clients is, look, you have like a good 10 days. You're fresh on the market. We got marketing going. It's fresh, hot deals, etc. Like this is
Sure.
your time to shine. Like you may not get this again unless, you will sell. Will sell at some point, but there's just a lot of emotional decisions to be made, and it's one agent after another. I have this particularly in Sun City that I've had a lot of showings. It's been on the market for a while. I know what's wrong with it. I know what can be done to sell, but when you have a client that is very adamant, you have to, at the end of the day, we have the fiduciary duty to our clients above all.
Correct.
But I feel like when you do a listing and you price it right, and especially here in Arizona, you will sell.
Right.
And you get a very short window of shining, and it's that time to shine within those, at least the first 30 days,
Absolutely.
in my opinion.
No doubt to that. No doubt to that. I tell you, if you price your property right, if you list it correctly, it
you
moves.
will sell. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to move.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If you have a buyer that's buying a property, if you show them the properties where they need to get into that qualifies them correctly, no doubt you're going to find them a property. But if you're looking at a property that they're nowhere near where they need to be, you're just spinning your wheels showing property after property after property. It just doesn't work out.
That's right.
I mean,
yeah, no, I get it. So on a personal level,
Okay.
What has been the most, what keeps you going? Like when you have those tough days, because I've had them too. I had one in January that closed that I thought this is bad. And I was never going to give up. I don't give up, and I will fight it all the way to the end unless someone else throws the towel. But it's not going to be me throwing in the towel, but it was a tough one. But what do you do on those tough days? Like, what motivates you to keep going as a realtor?
Well, that's a great question. I don't take things personal, to be honest with you. Maybe that's just me. In our business, there's a lot of hurdles. People may not realize that, but realtors, we go through some crazy stuff with some deals, right? I mean, but I don't take it personal. I like challenges. I like when there's roadblocks and there's hurdles and stuff like that, because it makes me a much stronger realtor. It gives me a broader sense of how to do business, a better understanding of situations. So when they arise again, I know it, right? So I don't mind it. Tough days for me, what gets me going is, I don't know. I'm not to talk about politics and faith, but
You
maybe,
got to.
but my
You have
faith
to.
also
Yes.
brings me through
Thank
it.
you for sharing.
For me, it's as a believer.
Awesome. I knew I liked you for a reason.
I tell you,
I'm a believer as well, and I'm not ashamed or I'm not embarrassed to say it. So I knew you and I would connect right away.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't go sharing it and
Sure.
preaching it out. I think your actions and the way you live your life, people are going to know. They're going to see it in your personality and your demeanor and so forth.
Absolutely.
And then that's when people start questioning, hey, something a little different about you.
Yes.
What is it, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
that's when you open up.
Yep.
But I don't. Everyone has rough days.
Yeah.
But I just fall back on my faith.
100%.
And I just know God is in control of everything that goes on.
100%.
We have our ups and downs in this business. I had a transaction. I'll give you one where you're like, I'm like, God, where are you on this one?
Yeah.
What happened, right? So without throwing out the names here, I'll share with you and tell you that I had a transaction where we are clear to close. My buyers had to get out. They had a lot of debris. The day that we're ready to record, the buyers are doing their final on the day of recording. That's another problem too. Just so you know, do your final a couple of days prior to your recording, not the day of recording.
Final walkthrough.
Your final walkthrough,
Yes,
meaning
absolutely.
after you get your CTC clear to close, right? In our business, or in the mortgage side, you get the CTC clear to close. Do your walkthrough prior to.
You go visit the house.
Go visit the house.
Make sure everything is the same the way that when you put the offer and looked at it.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So this seller of mine took all their debris that they didn't know what to do with, that we've been talking about dumping it somewhere.
Yeah.
Put it all in the front yard. Just let it all out.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
Now, of course, we're not going to record, and the buyers are going to be like, "No, we're not recording. It could fall apart," and then there's a lot of things that could happen on the back end that could affect the buyer's deal, their closing, maybe
The appraisal.
Not
the appraisal's done.
The appraisal's done. More so like their interest rate. Maybe the lock rate is going to expire.
Right.
It expires the date of the recording, and if we have to move it forward and extend the rate lock, maybe it may cost X amount of dollars.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was just a mess. So now we got all this drama all this garbage in front of this house. And
Literally garbage.
like all their things that they don't want to take.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh.
and if you go to my, yeah, I'm not even gonna throw the name out there. I don't want to tell how to find.
That's okay.
It's just out there. Let me just tell you, it wasn't pretty.
Oh,
so
boy.
as a realtor, you got to put on a different hat now.
Heck yeah.
And figure out what are we gonna do. So now I'm scrambling. Let's get a junk removal company come out here and remove the debris. And that became a problem because I had somebody scheduled, and they canceled that service guy, that person that was gonna go out there, because of I can't afford it. I can't pay it. Right. Instead of calling me up and saying, I can't afford it, I could say, well, we could bill it and put it through escrow.
Okay, yeah.
And let them take care of it at the end.
Yeah.
So you'll get less proceeds, but it'll get paid.
Sure.
Right? But instead of doing that, they canceled it. So now, like, oh my God, now we're not going to meet recording date here. We're going to have some problems. It's just stressful. At the end, long story short, we got it done. I got somebody came out.
Yeah.
I was there till late at night, making sure y'all removed.
Shoveling the debris.
Yeah. And I got a team came out and they took care of it. One person, I'll give him props. It's the name of the company is called the Happy Hippo Junk Removal Company.
I love it.
Fantastic.
Happy Hippo
Junk Removal.
Happy Hippo Junk Removal here in Arizona.
His name is Micah. You'll love this guy.
Love it. I'll have to follow him on social media.
Follow him. You'll find him on my social sites.
Love it.
You know, we connect. He took care of it. Great service. But that's the part where you're like, rough day, stressful day. What do you do?
Right.
So it's one of those where you take a step back and say, you know, God, you're in control. Whatever the outcome is, it is. So, you know, you can't overstress it. You can't flip out and stress out. You just got to roll with the punches, because in this business, you do a lot of you roll through a lot of punches. You do.
Yeah, you do. It's
but that's okay.
I've had a few things like that happen. Not something like that specifically, but almost closing. And my client went and purchased this huge shed at Home Depot. And you know how that is. Like, I constantly say, do not get out credit cards.
Yeah, don't go buying
Don't
stuff.
go shopping, you know, buying stuff, getting credit cards. Don't get new tires. Don't go get a car. Like, oh, please. Anyways, that happened, and that was a nightmare. But we resolved it. I really appreciate you sharing about your faith, because I also am a believer. And what gets me through the tough days, and not only with work, but also, you know, personal, because our lives are not perfect, and we have grown children, and we have I have grandbabies. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, I have 2 of them.
Yeah, and it's just life is life. So do I. I have 2, 6 and 4. But it's God, really, you know, and I rely on, Lord, if this is meant to be, and if we're gonna make this happen, I know it's on you. And even when I go to show homes, I always tell my clients, like, look, you know, we'll see all the homes, and whatever, like, if there's something tugging in your heart, then maybe that's the one. And
Absolutely.
We put in an offer, and if it doesn't go through, and then we have it was meant to be.
Right.
And so I think also giving us as believers, giving our clients that peace of mind, like, okay, well, if they're thinking this, then I almost have like more confident, because they're confident that if it's meant to be, it will happen. And that's super important to me, and on a personal level as well, because, man, there's some days that life is hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really
you know,
hard.
I mean, that's where I fall on. I fall on just guidance and direction, and just wait upon and see what God leads, God provides. It's my saying.
Absolutely, yeah.
But, you know, I've got my family. I got a beautiful wife that just also supports me, and my children as well. My son, my oldest boy, he's a realtor and investor.
Really?
He's been doing it for like 11 years. And, you know, I also rely on him a lot. He's a very knowledgeable young kid, you know, and believe it or not, I mean, I'll go to him and say, hey, I'm putting this together. What do you think?
What do you think? Yeah.
He's like, Dad, do it this way at this comment. You know, when we write up a contract.
I love that.
Like,
that's wonderful.
You know, and he's very successful in what he does. I mean, he does a lot of business, and so he has a lot of experience. And because of that, I mean, he's a sponge. He takes it all in. He knows a lot.
I love that.
But he's he's a very calm and collective kid. It's funny because I'll ask him stuff, and he'll just sit there and like ponder. And
yeah.
He's like, "This is how we're gonna do it."
Oh wow.
And then I think about him like, "Good." matured in his business
Yeah,
because
and
he's
it's
teaching me.
It's funny how our roles are starting to change.
Right.
I don't know about you, but like my kids are kind of telling me what I need to do instead of me telling them
Right.
what they're gonna do, which that's long gone. So the
Funny.
roles are changing for sure. But Jesse, oh my gosh, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for spontaneously saying yes to me. It was really out of the blue and very quickly, but I really appreciate your time. This is really important to me to connect with other realtors and share about my friend here, Jesse, because now we're friends.
Cool, I
So,
appreciate you. Thank you so
Jesse
much.
Moreno from Bliss Realty and Investments. Plus, he has an amazing podcast called The Closing Room. I love that name. Like that's brilliant. I don't know if it was you or your son who came up with it or your wife because she's probably really smart. But I love The Closing Room. I love your logo. I love the podcast. Like awesome.
Thank you so much.
Mine is Cafecito with Mercy because I love coffee. I'll drink coffee anytime, any day, twice on Sunday. I just absolutely love it. So I wanted to share when I do my podcast, Cafecito, one day I'm actually going to bring Café Cubano because I'm Cuban and I maybe that's why. Because when I was little, my mom would give me with the teto or titi or pacifier, whatever you want to call it,
Sure.
dip it in espresso and put it in my mouth. And guess what? I did that to my kids too. And I think all Cuban Americans have gone through that
Very
at
cool.
some point. But anyways, I love coffee, and that's why my podcast is Cafecito with Mercy. I'm Mercy. I'm your realtor, and I'm here to help you in anything you need. I'm in the East Valley, but I also do West Valley, Scottsdale, and anywhere in Phoenix, Arizona. I just don't think I'll go to Tucson. I'll do a referral then.
Don't say
But-
you may not. You may.
And hey, you're right. Hey, if the price is right, I will
Yeah.
travel to Tucson.
I was like, I'll never do business out that direction, and I've done business that
Yeah.
far out. So
you know, I actually sold a house at Red Rock in September, and I thought maybe I would do a referral. I'm like, no, I really need to make that sale. I think I'm going to do it. So,
cool.
anyways,
Well,
thank you,
Mercy,
Jesse,
for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Let's do this
and
again.
I
Let's
love
talk about
it.
anything else that you like. We can bring it to the table and
Let's do it.
let's educate our listeners
I love it.
and our colleagues that probably also need a little bit of direction and advice.
Heck yeah.
Love to help out.
I appreciate you, and thank you for sharing who you are.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
Awesome.
Take care, guys. Have
See
a
you
great
guys.
day. Bye.